Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowen, and thank you all for joining me. So, I just discovered that there is talk of an Indiana Jones 5, and I love the Indiana Jones movies up until the third one. I watched the first one, I watched the second one, and I think I watched the third one. After that, I kind of dropped off. But I love the Indiana Jones movies. You know what I mean? I love Harrison Ford in the Star Wars movies. I love them in the Star Wars movies, man. Indiana Jones was cool. It was a bomb. You know, the movies made huge profits. But when Disney took over, like they're taking over everything else, it becomes a bed of woke nonsense. And what am I talking about here? Well, according to this article that I'm about to read, and I'm going to give you the details of this, they're talking about replacing Harrison Ford with a practically unknown, non-famous female actor. That's becoming more and more commonplace. Look, I'm going to get right into this article. We're going to get into this article, and let me point out something up front first before I read this article. This article is an opinion piece. So the writer is obviously giving his opinion on it, okay? He's giving his opinion, but I want to read this opinion piece because I support his opinion because that's how I think myself. But I'm going to give you, after I completed reading this opinion piece, I'm going to give you my opinion on what I actually think is going on with the woke crowd, what I actually believe is wrong with them, okay? So let's get right into this article. Disney is just messing up everything, man. It's like, wow, really, dude? So the article says test screening for Disney's Indiana Jones 5 have been disastrous, reports World of Real's Jordi Rumi. Reports World, let me read it again. Test screenings for Disney's Indiana Jones 5 have been, quote, disastrous, reports World of Real's Jordan Rumi. Rumi has also heard that, quote, rumors indicate that Disney is in panic over the screenings and that they're worried the movie will bomb. No kidding. What you worried the movie gonna bomb? Clearly, it's obvious you worried the movie's gonna bomb. Look at what you're doing. Let's go on. The biggest test screening disaster involves one cut of the film that has, quote, Phoebe Waller-Bridge replacing Harrison Ford at the end of the movie. And as this writer says in this article, I've never heard of this person. Who the heck is Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Another unpopular conclusion had Ford's Indiana Jones dying, writes Rumi. Presumably, this would set up the franchise for further sequels with Ford not returning. Ford not returning is obvious he's 80. And that makes sense. Okay, I can understand. He's 80, he's old, he's not, just like, it's like Robert Englund returning for the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, you know, which I'm starting to think here, if Disney takes over the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, they're going to make the next Freddy Krueger a female, and it'll be Frederica Krueger. I don't know. I don't know. Francis Krueger, I don't know. But I'm poking, but you get what I'm saying. The article goes on to say, this is about the brand, and only the woke groomers over at Disney could destroy the Indiana Jones brand. After all, it was Disney that took the most beloved movie franchise in history, Star Wars, and woke raped it. That's funny. Woke raped it until it was no longer viable at anything other than a TV show. And, you know, I've heard about that. I have a coworker on my job, and he's a Star Wars fan. And he's not into the political area that I'm into. He's not really into the politics or anything like that. But he tells me all the time how that Disney has just screwed up everything, screwed up all the movies. Look, I never watched any of the Disney Star Wars episode, you know, the prequels. I never really hardly watched them. I did watch Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. That was excellent. I loved it. Oh God, I loved it. But the other ones I never watched. You know, I never watched the other ones later. But what I heard about the ones later was just that they were terrible. They were terrible. And my coworker constantly tells me how Disney has screwed up everything with the Star Wars franchise. So I have a personal witness that's telling me out of his own mouth how screwy Disney is, how they're making everything a woke propaganda. I don't know what to say about it. It's just terrible. It's terrible. And then let's go on, because I'm ranting right there. I'm gonna give you my reason why I believe about these woke people. But it says, and allow me to add this: who the HELL is Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Same question I said. I'm vaguely aware of the name. I know the woke tarts love her. She had a TV show on Amazon that lasted a few seasons. This is who they want to make the next Indiana Jones? Great question. He asked the question, this is who they want to make the next Indiana Jones? Now listen to his reasons for this. Same thing I've been thinking. Some girl who was on TV for a few years, you can see the logic behind handing the Indy baton to Angelina Jolie or Charlize Theron or Miley Jovovich. It would still be a terrible idea, but those actresses are movie stars with some credibility in the action genre. Absolutely. It would, like you said, it would still be disastrous because Indiana Jones is a male. And if you watch the Indiana Jones movies, a lot of the things that he was doing took a lot of physical action. Not saying that females can't do anything physical, but it would come off awkward if you had a female doing the type of things that Indiana Jones did in his movies. Now, it could be argued with Sigourney Weaver in the Aliens movies. But if you really pay attention to Aliens movies, what did she really do that was very, very physically demanding? In the first Alien, all she did was run away from the alien and use her brain. In the second Alien, she did some physical things, but she had a big gun that could take out Godzilla. So, I mean, it goes on to say, the Star Wars film franchise was so foolproof, even George Lucas's stillborn prequels couldn't kill it. Indiana Jones is so foolproof, even the dreadful Kingdom of the Crystal Skull couldn't kill it. Like I told y'all, I gave up kind of watching all of them, the ones following it. But Disney can kill Indiana Jones. Disney can kill anything, he says. Oh, and is it any surprise that producer and Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy is behind these Indiana Jones 5 and these nonstop franchise killing ideas? This is the same moron who woke raped the Star Wars film franchise until it was door nailed dead. And let's not forget that Disney is also destroying the Marvel franchise. A brilliant franchise that captured pop culture for 10 years is now just another smug series of comic book movies filled with left-wing talking and lectures. I have nothing against female action stars, and I don't either. I just mentioned Sigourney Weaver. I love the Resident Evil series, and Jolie was terrific in the first Tomb Raider flick. I didn't see that, but I like Angelina Jolie. I like her. Both of those franchises began as video games with female protagonists. That's how it works. You don't plug a girl into a guy's role, and vice versa. You don't plug a guy into a girl's role. People resent it. They can smell the social engineering a mile away. We don't go to the movies to be socially engineered. I totally agree with him right here. Let me tell you how this ends. Indy 5 doesn't do so well at the box office, and Disney blames right-wing bigots, which is so stupid and illogical, it's not even worth talking about. She Indy goes to Disney streaming. What the heck is She Indy? Critics gush. No one watches it. John Nolte, gay marriage, his Blu-ray collection. That's the end of the article there. That's kind of humorous there, But yeah, man. I agree with what he's saying. I agree with that opinion piece. I'd say 99% of what he just said, I agree with. But I wanted to read that opinion piece because I agree with that opinion piece, and it's the way I think. But I wanted to say something about what I think about a lot of the extremist woke people that claim themselves to be woke. And look, people have a right to their own opinions. People have a right to their own choices and decisions. This is a disclaimer. I don't care what you choose to be or how you choose. Look, it is what it is, your choice. But this is what I personally believe. When you consistently go against established logic, linear logic, that anybody with a brain can look at and tell, okay, this is the right way to go. This makes more sense. And you consistently go against linear logic. You consistently go against things that make sense to the average human being. You consistently go against moral values. You consistently go against things that will build your mind and build you spiritually, actually. When you consistently do that, I personally believe something happens to you mentally. You get some kind of brain damage. Something literally, I believe that woke people, that these people here in Disney, aside from the agenda that they may be pushing, they honestly believe what they're pushing. They honestly believe it makes more sense to move Harrison Ford out of the way. Okay, he's 80 years old. I get that. Cool. I get it. Robert Englund, the same thing. I get it. He's too old. He don't even want to do the Nightmare on Elm Street movies anymore because he's too old. I get it. That makes sense. But to move him out of the way and say we're going to replace or talk about replacing Indiana Jones, an established actor, everybody knows him, replace him with a female that hardly anyone knows or ever heard of. Are you crazy? Yes, I believe that they are. Because that doesn't make sense whatsoever. No one could convince me in any way. And I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I'm certainly not the dumbest either. I do some reading. I do some researching. I'm not that dumb. And I'm going to assume that most people are not that dumb. But the woke crowd, the woke tarts, they call them, there is something psychologically wrong with those people. I really believe it. And it's based on what I just said. When you consistently go against logic, when you consistently go against what makes sense to billions of people on the face of the doggone earth, you consistently go against that, it does something to your brain. It does something to the neurons in your brain. The sparks stop sparking between the neurons. The sparks, they don't spark anymore. So it's hard to think logically now because you consistently keep going against established linear logic. So now you're a goofball now. You messed up psychologically. You don't know what to think anymore. You don't know how to think anymore. If someone was to ask you what is 1 + 1, you will probably say 6. And you will say 6 and it will make sense in your mind. You will literally sit up and argue with someone that says, no, 1 + 1 = 2. You will literally argue with them because you are convinced in your own mind, because you woke, that 1 + 1 = 6. You will literally argue with them. That's why I personally do not have arguments and debates with far left radicals and woke people. I do not, because I honestly believe that something is wrong with them psychologically and something definitely is wrong with them spiritually. Something definitely is wrong with them spiritually. I don't even get into the spiritual aspect, but psychologically, yes, something's wrong. You keep going against established linear logic on a consistent basis, it's going to affect your neurons. It's going to affect your brain cells. That's what I believe. That's what I believe Disney is all about right now. That's what I believe, because what they're talking about doing here, whether they do it or not, but what they're talking about doing here for Indiana Jones 5, if this is accurate and if this is true, is totally illogical, totally doesn't make any sense. And if they get backlash for it, that's the logical thing. If you get backlash from it, from people that watch the Indiana Jones movies, isn't that the logical response? Why blame it on right-wing bigots? That's the stupidest, dumbest thing I've heard in my life. Gee whiz, man. Oh my God, Lord Jesus, help these people. Please, really. I'm not putting them down. I believe we are all made in the image of God, and I believe Jesus died for all of us. But my goodness, man, come on, man. He gave us a brain, did he? If you believe in God and I believe in God, God gave us a brain. When you don't use the brain that God give you and you abuse it, it corrupts that brain. You start thinking in a way that's totally illogical. And this is what I see going on here. So I just wanted to give you guys my spin on this opinion piece. What do you guys think about this whole thing about replacing Indiana Jones with a practically unknown female? What do you think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share, and subscribe. God bless you all and see you again.